Hey guys, welcome to KM Reviews. I am Niddleman. Today I'm bringing you a spoiler-free review for the movie Fences, starring and directed by Denzel Washington, also co-starring Viola Davis. Now, this movie is actually an adaptation of a play that you may have seen clips from on YouTube here and there. I saw one with James Earl Jones portraying the same character. Denzel Washington did the play back in the day. He decided, you know what, I'm going to adapt this into a movie. Now, this movie is basically a very dialogue heavy movie. I mean, really, it only takes place in two scenes. Pretty much 90% of this movie is the backyard where they're building a fence, and maybe the kitchen or living room a couple times, and maybe one other scene. But pretty much the backyard of the house is where this movie takes place. And it feels like a play that they put into a movie. You know, it is. It's a bit long dialogue scenes that they just put together in a few big chunks, and that's your movie. There's nothing super intense about it. It's not an action movie. It's nothing like that. This is a pure drama. It's about a character that's this dad that's trying to do right by his family, is trying to instill some character into his son and his kids and stuff, and his relationship with his wife. And as the movie goes along, he kind of seems like this guy, this nice guy that's just trying to get by in life. And as the movie progresses, you see this character arc with Denzel Washington. Not a whole lot of time takes place in this movie, but you see him going from this alright guy to kind of maybe having some darker stuff in his character, and you kind of realize what kind of guy he really is. And it was a very interesting movie. Now, I will say this, the acting was stupendous. It was amazing. Viola Davis, she has a couple scenes in there that are just wow, man. Although they do kind of show it in the trailer a little bit. Denzel Washington, his acting, amazing. The guy who plays Denzel Washington's brother in this movie is kind of like this handicapped guy because he got shot in the war and he's just kind of slower now. The guy who acted as him did an amazing job. I think the only performance I was not super impressed with was Denzel Washington's son. He just kind of seemed flat. There's a lot of scenes and certain dialogue that's happening in this movie that I feel like his character should have been more emotional or angry or sad or something, but he always had the same expression, just kind of and it was just okay. But other than that, even him, honestly, he wasn't that bad. It was just because everyone else was at this level and he was at this level, it felt like it wasn't as good. But really, in general, he was still a good actor. Now, one of the negatives that will not make it a super great movie for me and maybe go against a bunch of critics, I don't know, is that the pacing for me, again, was just really slow. It just felt like it was dragging its feet sometimes because they're just long dialogue scenes, and we're not used to seeing that. We're used to cut, jump from here, jump to here in movies, and my mind is just used to that. This movie just felt like it dragged on, and I was like, come on. And I know my wife felt the same way. She saw it with me too, and after the movie, she's like, what did you think of that? Kind of but neither of us could argue the acting was great. The writing and the dialogue was very well portrayed. I never saw the play, so I can't tell you if the adaptation does the play justice. I'm assuming it's pretty much word for word, I'm guessing. But honestly, oh man, I'm just waiting for these comments. I'm going to give this movie blue balls. I was just expecting this movie to be a little bit faster paced. I was expecting to be on the edge of my seat. I don't know why. Just the way the trailers portrayed it, I thought it was going to be a lot more intense. And the way it dragged, it just really brought it down for me. If it hadn't have dragged so much, this probably would have got girlfriend or wife material, because there were certain scenes in this movie, if you took just those scenes, they would have been some of the best scenes I've seen in a long time. But the overall movie it was just a big letdown for me. It's not a movie I would ever see again. It's not the kind of movie I'm going to be like, you got to go see this movie. It's just, I was expecting too much, and that's my own fault. Again, blue balls does not mean this movie is bad. It's just my relationship with this movie is that I was expecting more than I got. I was disappointed. I left the theater a little bit let down. It was still a good movie. The acting was great. The dialogue was great. I'm not saying it was bad. It just wasn't my kind of movie. Okay, so I'm curious, for those of you that saw it, do you agree with me or do I suck? Let me know and comment below. Also, remember you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, pretty much everything at Niddleman. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to get updated reviews every single week, if you can handle it. Go.